Greetings, my peeps, and welcome to the All Things Basketball Podcast with your boy GD. In this episode, my part 2 of my Week 14 recap covering Derrick Rose gets his flowers, his jersey retired in Chicago. We'll talk about that. Speaking of jerseys, jersey sales, we'll talk about for the players and then for the teams, the rankings. Also, of course, injuries, performances of the week, and also some all-star news that I want to run by you. All that and more. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, guys, it's your boy GD back with the All Things Basketball with GD podcast. And guys, I am broadcasting from sunny Hawaii. Yes, it is beautiful out. It's in the morning right now, but, you know, I wanted to do the live, but it's just so many things to do. I got a full itinerary, so I said, you know what, let me just do my recordings, just do them early so I can hit these streets and do everything, you know, as far as activities and all that good stuff. So here I am with the Week 14 recap, part 2 of it, actually. In part 1, guys, I covered Giannis Antetokounmpo, him being out with an injury and the effects that'll have on the team. Also, Ja Morant as well, and how this probably sullies the chances of him getting traded at the trade deadline. Then we talked about the ESPN article that came out by Baxter Holmes, the one that chronicles the Buss family and how Jeannie Buss has rose from the ashes, if you will, and she's the only family member left. It's with a connection to the Lakers. But the big to-do was about what she said about LeBron and how I thought it was far-fetched, to be honest with you. Just a couple of paragraphs and everybody took it and blew it up. But what can you do? Then also I talked about inside the NBA, whether it's deliberately being sabotaged, which I don't believe. And then the hoax, if you will, of having Jordan as this special contributor. It was only one interview that they spliced up and piecemealed it a bit to the fan base. So there you go. All right, guys. So let us continue on. Let's start with Derrick Rose. He gets his flowers, guys. He gets honored on January 24th in Chicago. And you know, he played there. He had a bit of a very successful run there where he was named league MVP, one of the youngest to do it. And all that entailed what he did in Chicago. Now, there was his former players there. Of course, you had, Joakim Noah was there. Taj Gibson was there, Luol Deng as well, and his coach, Tom Thibodeau. It was good seeing Tom Thibodeau back outside, if you will. And he was giving his flowers and kudos and all those sort of things. But the night belonged to Derrick Rose, and his jersey was raised to the Raptors for the Chicago Bulls. So shout out to D Rose. You know, he came here to New York to the Knicks, and he put on a fine show for us and was well beloved here. So he gets love in New York, but Chicago, that's where his heart is. So major shout out to Derrick Rose for getting his jersey retired in Chicago. So there you go. All right. So that's that bit of business. Let's continue. Speaking of jerseys, top jersey sales, guys, the numbers are out. And this is how it shook out amongst the players. First, you had Steph Curry. He has the number 1 selling jersey amongst all the players, guys. So Steph for the Golden State Warriors, selling out his jerseys, guys. Next on the list, Luka Doncic, obviously for the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, you figure his jersey sales are high, being that he's now in a Laker uniform. So, Luka, second on the list. Third, this kind of surprised me, guys. Jalen Brunson of my New York Knicks. Captain Clutch is third in jersey sales. I was a bit surprised by that, I have to admit. But he's receiving the love, guys, and the jersey sales tells the tale. Third amongst all NBA players in jerseys being sold. Fourth, and not too surprising, Victor Wembanyama. You see what he's doing in his young career thus far, and sky's the limit for that young man for the San Antonio Spurs and actually that team as well. So Victor Wembanyama in fourth place. Fifth, LeBron James. People still want his jerseys, guys. You know, say what you will about, I spoke about it in the last episode, how some people want him to retire already, but the man's still selling jerseys. What can you do, But LeBron James for the Los Angeles Lakers, fifth in jersey sales. Sixth, Anthony Edwards for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not too much of a surprise there. This young man, what a scoring machine he is. Seventh, and kind of low on here, if you ask me, Shai GIlgeous-Alexander, the reigning league MVP, on the team that's the reigning NBA champs, just seventh on the list. That was a bit surprising, but Shai GIlgeous-Alexander, seventh. Eighth, this was a surprise, Jason Tatum. Now, if you had said to me Jaylen Brown, I've been like, okay, I understand that. But Jason Tatum, who, oh, by the way, is not playing right now, and there's rumblings that he could come back during the season. I don't know if I would risk that if I was Boston, but we could talk more about that later. But he's eighth on the list, Jason Tatum. Ninth, the Joker, Nikola Jokic. He's ninth on the list, guys, as far as jersey sales go. Not too surprising either. 10th, Tyrese Maxey, and I think he could rise up the charts the way he's playing this season thus far. Absolutely balling right now. Playing first team all NBA kind of numbers. That's what he's doing, guys. And then 11 through 15, you have the rookie Cooper Flag in 11th, KD 12th, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's in 13th place. Cade Cunningham, another young and upcoming player, he's 14th on the list, and then 15th is Donovan Mitchell for the Cleveland Cavaliers, guys. All right, so that's the players. Now the teams, guys. And not too much of this is a surprise, really. Number one, the Los Angeles Lakers, of course. You got two guys in the top 5 in jersey sales, so not too surprising. So they're number one. Number two, the New York Knicks. Wow. That's a bit of a surprise. But when you got a guy in third as far as jersey sales and how they buy for the other guys on the team, whether it be Cat, whether it be Josh Hart. I hear a lot of people loving Josh Hart and getting his jerseys. Whether it be OG Anunoby. They're getting the sales. So Knicks, second. Third, Golden State Warriors. Not too much of a surprise since Steph is the number one player in jersey sales. So it trickles down to the rest of the team, I guess. So Golden State, third. Fourth, not too surprising. Same team for the player that's in fourth. The San Antonio Spurs, they're in fourth place. Fifth, the Philadelphia 76ers, not too surprising when you got a Tyrese Maxey, a Joel Embiid, even a Paul George over there. Not too much of a surprise that they're fifth. 6, the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics, no matter, as long as they're competitive, guys, they'll always be amongst the top 10 in jersey sales. So they're 6. 7, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not too surprising, but the Timberwolves, 7th. 8th, kind of low to me, but Oklahoma City Thunder, they're the 8th place team in jersey sales. 9th, the Dallas Mavericks. And then 10th, the Denver Nuggets, guys. So those are your jersey sales, guys. Let us continue on. There was some postponements this week, guys. Some postponements of games, starting with on January 24th. Golden State going to Minnesota to play the Timberwolves. That game was postponed until the following day, given all that's going on in the streets there. You have this agency that's out there, and this is an agency. It's not a law enforcement agency, guys. It's a agency that's out there to, their role is to find illegal immigrants and snatch them up, but it's running roughshod out there in Minnesota, unfortunately. So much so we have our second fatal shooting in a matter of weeks. A 37-year-old man out there trying to come to the aid of a woman who was being hassled by them, and he gets shot dead in the streets, unfortunately. So the Timberwolves organization, they say, you know what? Yeah, let us not play tonight. The tensions are too high in the streets. Let us be mindful of that. So they moved it on to the following day. So that is what went down as far as that goes. So now they end up playing a back-to-back on January 25th and then the 26th. So there you go. All right, and then the next day, January 25th, 2 more games get canceled, guys. The Denver Nuggets at the Memphis Grizzlies, and also the Dallas Mavericks at the Milwaukee Bucks. Both of those games canceled because of the winter storm, and it was a bad one, guys. So they ended up canceling the games, moving those games to later dates. So there you go with that. And then on the 26th of January, you had 2 games get moved to earlier start times. The Indiana Pacers at the Atlanta Hawks, that got moved to a 1:30 start. And then the Philadelphia 76ers playing in Charlotte against the Hornets got moved to a 3 o'clock start. So a lot of postponements and rescheduling around the storms that are taking place, as well as, like I said, unrest that's happening in Minnesota. So, and prayers to all those affected by all those situations there. So there you go. All right, guys, with that said, let us continue. Injuries, guys. Let's talk injuries. Jonathan Kuminga. Now, guys, I talked about that maybe on my MLK Day episode, how now the Golden State Warriors now have to turn to Jonathan Kuminga. It's unfortunate because of the Jimmy Butler torn ACL. So now you got to look to a player that you kind of shunned. Well, as far as the coach goes, you kind of shunned this player. Now you need him. And now he has a bone bruise in his knee. Diagnosis is to be announced. I haven't heard anything as of yet as far as how long he'll be on the shelf. So we'll see what happens. But And that happened on January 22nd in a loss at the Dallas Mavericks, guys. And it happened in the second quarter where he suffered this bone bruise. Now, the guys on inside the NBA were debating back and forth about the Jonathan Kuminga situation. I'm going to see if I can pull that up because I want you guys to hear what was said in that regard. But, oh boy. You know, you open up the phone and you see all this horrible news here. But, yeah. Sometimes we're living in, guys. I tell you that. Let's see what they said about. Okay. Yes. So, I'm going to play for you first what the GM of the Golden State Warriors, Mike Dunleavy Jr., what he had to say as far as, remember when Jonathan Kuminga requested a trade? This is what the GM of the Golden State Warriors had to say.
Market, so we'll see what that goes. But yeah, I mean, I think as far as the demand, aware of that. I think when you know, in terms of the demand, there needs to be demand market. So we'll see what that goes. But
so basically, he said he understands that there was a demand made, but it's hard to do when there's no market for the player. I beg to differ. I think there is a market. It's just what they're trying to extract from a team. So I think it's just as basic as that, guys. So, you know, you always want to downplay stuff if you're a GM, but this doesn't help matters as far as your situation, as far as your relationship with the player. So be that what it may, that's what he said. Now, here's what Barkley had to say as far as the situation over there in that regard. Listen to this.
The loser in the whole thing is Steph. Because they were not contenders. Now Steph is going to finish the last part of his career on a mediocre team. And that's the thing that's disheartening about it. Because, like I say, they were not contenders, but they were a solid team. The biggest loser in the whole thing is Steph.
Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted them talking about let me see if I can find it. We're inside the NBA. We were talking about the deal itself as far as what's going on with the relationship there with those guys. If I can't find it, I'll just tell you. Basically saying that, I can't find it. What they basically said was the situation is far beyond. In other words, it's irreparable, you know, as far as the relationship between Jonathan Kuminga and the organization of the Golden State Warriors. And, you know, Shaq said, you haven't seen enough of him to know what he can do. But that's what Charles Barkley chimed in and said, that situation is beyond repair. I kind of believe that. I think it is beyond repair at this point. And the whole thing was, I kind of said it in the summer when we were talking free agency, when he was a restricted free agent and they re-signed him. I was like, why? Why not do a sign and trade and, you know, not have this man subject to being on your bench and hardly played? He had a lot of DMPs, guys, and that's not good. So, you know, a lot could be made of Coach Steve Kerr, how he doesn't develop the young talent there, although some people will say, oh, what about Brandon Podensky, who who's actually playing well for them. What about Moses Moody, who, he sat on him for a while, but now he sees he needs him now that he doesn't have a Klay Thompson in the fold. So he's got to play Moody now, But, that's a story for another day. And, they'll probably say that about Trace Jackson Davis, If that's the case, why is he sitting at the end of the bench? So, you can go a lot of different ways. But the situation is just untenuous as far as that goes. So I'll just leave it there. But like I said, bone bruise in his knee. So his diagnosis, we're not exactly sure. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let us continue. Devin Booker for the Phoenix Suns. He's out for at least a week, guys, with an ankle sprain. Now, this puts Phoenix in a tenuous situation over the next week or so. But you do have reinforcements here. You have a Colin Gillespie who's played fantastic for them, guys. Grayson Allen, who can, he can light it up from three and be a threat. And Jordan as well. So, but Devin Booker out for at least a week with an ankle sprain. Let us stay on that vein. Jalen Green of the Phoenix Suns. He pulled a hamstring, guys, in the first quarter of a January 23rd loss at the Atlanta Hawks. Mind you, he just returned January 20th in a win at the 76ers at Philly, where he played 20 minutes, scored 12 points with 3 assists. So, guys, Jalen Green's House of Horror season continues, guys. So, if he pulled his hamstring, he's going to be out for a while, which means he'll probably be out past the trade deadline. So that cripples them, even if they were thinking of moving a Jalen Green. So tough break for Green, but this doesn't help the Phoenix Suns as far as that goes, but we'll see what happens. So, and those same guards I mentioned, they'll be getting the bulk of the playing time in Jalen Green's absence. So let's continue. Austin Reaves has been cleared, guys, for full contact practice. Austin Reaves of the Los Angeles Lakers, he could return this week, guys. He's missed 15 games and counting with that calf strain, guys. So, good news for the Lakers. Reinforcements coming back in the form of Austin Reaves, who was having a fantastic season prior to the injury. So, he's a player that they very well need. So, Austin Reaves could return this week. So, there you go. Lauri Markanen for the Utah Jazz. He's out due to an illness, guys. He's missed 7 games and counting, guys. I put illness in the air quotes, guys, because I think possibly he could be a player on the move at the trade deadline. I could be wrong on this, but it wouldn't shock me none if he was a player at the trade deadline who's being moved. Where would he go? You could look at a situation with Golden State, maybe. Possibly moving to that direction. I think he goes to a team that's maybe not a contender, but in the playoff hunt. I think that's what happens with him. So, Lauri Markanen, keep an eye on that come the trade deadline. So, there you go. Kevin Porter Jr., he's had a injury-filled season, guys. He's out indefinitely with an oblique injury. This is according to Coach Doc Rivers. He's been out 2 games thus far, guys. So Kevin Porter, remember, he got hurt first game of the season, missed a bulk of time, came back, and now he's dealing with this. So, of course, in the interim, Ryan Rollins will be the guy as far as the floor general for that team. But another tough break for Kevin Porter Jr. Well, a lot of people had high hopes for. So, but he's on the shelf, guys. Indefinitely oblique injury. Let us continue. RJ Barrett returns after missing 7 games with an ankle sprain, guys. And he returns for a January 24th win at the Portland Trail Blazers, a game where he played 21 minutes, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. So RJ Barrett back for them, guys, and a team that's hot right now. I'll talk about them later on, but a welcome sign for the Toronto Raptors. And hey, look, Coach Darko Rajakovic, he's doing a terrific job over there with those Toronto Raptors this season. So RJ Barrett back for the Raptors. Josh Giddey for the Chicago Bulls. He's back in the lineup, and he came back for a January 22nd win versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. He missed 11 games with a hamstring injury, guys. 26 minutes he played, 21 points off the bench, by the way, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. So Josh Giddey is a guy who can fill up your stat sheet, a guy that, Chicago needs. So Josh Giddey back for Chicago. And then the last one I'll talk about, Ben Mathurin. He's actually back, guys. He made his return on January 26th, a game at the Atlanta Hawks. That's the game that got rescheduled for 1:30, guys. He had missed 11 games with the thumb injury, guys. So Ben Mathurin back for the Indiana Pacers, and a welcome addition to the lineup. So there you go. All right, guys. So that is it for the injuries. Let's continue. Performances of the week, guys. Performances of the week. Let us start with, oh, by the way, last week was rivalry week. So you had a lot of games with close ties as far as, being competitors over the years, whether it be a player versus player matchup. So there you go. Chicago Bulls on January 20th, guys. They get a win over the LA Clippers. But in that game, they dropped 25 threes, which matches a career high for the team, guys. So they sink 25 threes in that game for the win. So there you go. A team performance, guys, that makes my list. Keyonte George, guys. He drops 43 points for the Utah Jazz with 6 threes and a win versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, guys. So his fine season continues for the Utah Jazz, guys. Keyonte George dropping 43. Jusuf Nurkic, he's had some week, guys. He's had some week. Now, on January 20th, in the same game where George dropped the 43 bomb on them, he had a triple-double. 16 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 assists in that game. Also a game where Anthony Edwards, he has 38 points with 8 rebounds for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But Jusuf Nurkic, with one heck of a run that he's on, guys, with a triple-double. Let us continue. My New York Knicks on January 20th, guys. No, I'm sorry, on January 21st. They played the Brooklyn Nets and absolutely crushed them. 120-66. Good gracious. And they break a franchise record with a 54-point win. Wow. That's how impressive the Knicks was against the Brooklyn Nets, their crosstown rival, if you will. But the Knicks breaking records. And they needed to because they had a bad game on Martin Luther King Day. I talked about that. The loss to Dallas, that was a bad loss, but they bounced back with an impressive win here. So kudos to the Knicks. Jalen Johnson, he continues his run towards an all-star selection this season. 32 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists in a January 21st win. And that's at the Memphis Grizzlies, guys. So he continues his torrid stretch. Also, guys, on the 23rd, Jalen Johnson, 23 points, a career high, 18 rebounds, 9 assists, and a win versus the Phoenix Suns in a game where Devin Booker, who's playing well this season, 31 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 3-point goals made amongst the 31 that he scored. So there you go. And also, this week, Shai GIlgeous-Alexander, he has a pretty good week as well. He drops a 40-point, 11 assists, 7 rebound game on January 21st and a win at the Milwaukee Bucks. And then on the 23rd, he drops 47 points, guys, with 4 rebounds, 4 assists, but he does it in a loss, guys. And that's a loss to one of the bottom-feeding teams, the Indiana Pacers, at home, by the way, where Andrew Nembhard had 27 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds, and he made 4 3-pointers in that game. But Shai GIlgeous-Alexander with a high-scoring week for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let us continue on. Joel Embiid had a pretty good week, guys. He has a 32-point triple-double, 15 rebounds, 10 assists, and he does it in a January 21st win versus the Houston Rockets, guys. An overtime win, by the way. Also in that game, Tyrese Maxey, 36 points, 10 assists, 3 steals in that game as well. KD, he drops 36 points, among that 5 threes as well in that game. And then Joel Embiid on January 24th against my New York Knicks, he had a monster game. 38 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, but they did lose to my Knicks on that day. Jalen Brunson for the Knicks, 31 points. He had a fantastic game. 6 threes he dropped. 6 assists, 5 rebounds to lead the Knicks to victory. So there you go. And then speaking of KD, he has on January 22nd, 32 points. He drops 5 threes in the game, 7 rebounds, and a win at the Detroit Pistons. So great win for the Houston Rockets, and KD leads the way. So there you go with that. Steph Curry, guys, 38 points in a game where he has 8 threes in the game, guys. And he becomes the first player in NBA history to attempt 10,000 3-point shots. Think about that, guys. Over the course of his career, 10,000 threes are amongst his attempts. Wow. But he does it in a loss at the Dallas Mavericks. So there you go. Let us continue. Peyton Watson, who stepped up this season, guys. He dropped a career high, 35 points, among those 6 threes, 8 rebounds, 4 blocks, 2 steals, in a January 22nd win at the Washington Wizards, guys. So Peyton Watson has been balling for Denver Nuggets, and a reason why they're able to keep float in the Western Conference, guys. Victor Wembanyama, guys. 26 points, 14 rebounds, 5 blocks. Good gracious. In a January 22nd win at the Utah Jazz. In a game where De'Aaron Fox, 31 points. He has 6 threes in the game, guys. 5 assists, 5 rebounds. And then Jusuf Nurkic, I talked about him, what he did on the 20th. On the 22nd, 17 points, 14 assists, and 11 rebounds. So he gets yet another triple-double, guys, for the Utah Jazz. Let us continue. Ivica Zubac for the LA Clippers. 18 points, 19 rebounds, guys. Good grief. And a January 22nd win, beating the LA Lakers, guys. So that was the one loss that took place as far as the Lakers go. So there you go. All right, let us continue on. Saddiq Bey, guys, he's been absolutely playing well, guys. And a guy who I think a lot of people are eyeing towards the trade deadline. 36 points among those 6 threes, 4 rebounds, 4 assists in a January 23rd win at the Memphis Grizzlies, guys. So Saddiq Bey's been playing well for the New Orleans Pelicans. Kind of an embattled team, but Saddiq Bey has been doing it for them. And then, of course, you have Trey Murphy III, 32 points and 3 steals in the game. Let us continue. Peyton Pritchard, 32 points among those 6 threes, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. And he does this in a win for the Boston Celtics against the Brooklyn Nets, and actually in double overtime, guys. And then Jaylen Brown, 27 points. He drops 4 threes. In fact, he has a triple-double, 12 assists, 10 rebounds in that double overtime win. Michael Porter Jr., he has 30 points. He drops 4 threes in the game, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists for the Brooklyn Nets. So there you go there. And Donovan Mitchell again, 36 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and a January 24th win at the Orlando Magic. And then the last one I'll talk about, Bam Adebayo, 26 points, 15 rebounds, and a January 24th win at the Utah Jazz. So there you go. All right, guys, let us continue. I forgot to do my players of the week for last week. I'll do that now, guys. And starting in the West, Luka Doncic for the Los Angeles Lakers. His team goes 2-1 for the week, guys. They go on the road to beat Denver. They go on the road to beat Dallas, a game that I watched, by the way, guys. Very good game. But they did lose to the LA Clippers at the LA Clippers. So that was your win-loss for that week. The average, guys, mind you, he had a few triple-doubles during that week, guys. He averaged over 34 points, nearly 11 rebounds, and nearly 10 assists. So there you go. That tells you all you need to know. From the field, nearly 51%. From 3, just 9 of 30. So, and from the free throw line, he took 37 attempts and missed only 5. So Luka balling right now for the LA Lakers, and he is player of the week in the Western Conference. In the East, a former Knick, guys, Immanuel Quickley for the Toronto Raptors. I just mentioned how well they're playing, guys. The team went 4-0 for the week, all on the West, guys. At Golden State, he has a career game, 40 points, 10 assists, guys. And amongst those 40, he dropped 7 threes for that win. Then they get a win at Sacramento, at Portland, and probably the biggest win of the week by far, at the Oklahoma City Thunder, where he has 23 points and 11 assists, guys. For the week, averaging over 25 points per game, nearly 7 rebounds, nearly 7 assists for IQ. For the week from the field, sensational. Over 61%. Wow. Impressive. And from 3, 61.5%. Good grief. And from the free throw line, out of 20 attempts, he only missed 1. Immanuel Quickley, rising to the occasion for the Toronto Raptors. And oh, by the way, where's the people who are saying that Ja Morant could be traded to Toronto Raptors? I don't think so. Not when you got Immanuel Quickley balling like this. So there you go. All right, guys. So that's your players of the week. Let's continue. All-Star news, guys. Now, the 7 players from the East and the West, I believe I talked about this previously. They're going to be named on February 1st during a NBC/Peacock production, a doubleheader, by the way. I believe my Knicks are involved in those games. So during that doubleheader, there'll be the announcement for as far as the your reserves for the All-Star game. So there you go there. And then also, too, so far amongst the coaches, JB Bickerstaff has secured a place as one of the 3 coaches for the All-Star game. The other 2 are to be determined, but if I had to take a guess, I say it will be David Adelman of the Denver Nuggets and Mitch Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs. Some people will say, hey, why not Mark Daigneault? Because he coached the All-Star team last season, guys. So you can't coach it 2 years in a row according to the rules of the All-Star game. So it'll be Adelman and Johnson, who I think could end up getting the 2 spots, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see what happens there. Matt McClung. Remember him, guys? He's been the sensation as far as the dunk contest goes. The G League player. He has decided not to participate in the 26th dunk contest on February 14th. My reaction? Bravo. He did what he had to do. He's come there. He's dominated. And so much so, the buzz has been the last few seasons with him winning. Do we have any dunkers in the NBA who are, who can be that guy? So this leaves room open for a player from the NBA to win this thing. And I think, I may sound like the old man on the lawn, but I think it should always be NBA players competing in this. I just think so. I think when you open it up to G Leaguers, then you have the naysayers, the ones who say, get rid of the dunk contests and all that sort of stuff. So he gave it a pop the last couple of years. Bravo to him. But let's leave it for NBA players. I'm just saying. So there you go with that. And then your honorary coaches for the Rising Stars Challenge, it will be the folks working for NBC as far as covering the NBA. It'll be Carmelo Anthony. It'll be Tracy McGrady. It'll be Vince Carter. And your 4th person is Austin Reaves. I believe Austin Reaves will coach the G Leaguers, if I'm not mistaken. And oh, by the way, guys, I have the list of the Rising All-Stars, guys, and I will read that to you right now. Amongst the NBA sophomores, you have Matas Baselis of the Chicago Bulls, Stephon Castle, your Rookie of the Year last year for the San Antonio Spurs, Donovan Mitchell for the Portland Trail Blazers, Keyshawn George of the Washington Wizards, AJ Mitchell of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Alex Sarr of the Washington Wizards, Reed Shepherd of the Houston Rockets, Cam Spencer for the Memphis Grizzlies, Jalen Tyson, who's playing very well, for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Kel'el Ward of the Miami Heat, and then Jalen Wells of the Memphis Grizzlies. So those are your sophomores that will participate in the Rising Stars game. And then the rookies. These are your rookies, guys. Cedric Howard of the Memphis Grizzlies. He will represent for as far as a rookie for that team. Igor Demine of the Brooklyn Nets. He has started to come on, guys. So he will be amongst the rookies. VJ Edgecombe, who's played very well for the Philadelphia 76ers. Jeremiah Fears for the New Orleans Pelicans. One of their two sensational rookies. Cooper Flagg, obviously, the Dallas Mavericks. Dylan Harper, playing well for the San Antonio Spurs. Trey Johnson of the Washington Wizards. Con Knubel of the Charlotte Hornets. Colin Murray Boyles of the Toronto Raptors. And Derek Queen, the other rookie, playing well for the New Orleans Pelicans. And then your G Leaguers are Sean East II, Ron Harper Jr. So, of course, the son of NBA baller Ron Harper, David Jones Garcia, Yannick Honan Niederheiser, Elijah Martin, Tristan Newton, and Yang Henson are your representatives for the G League, guys. So there you go. That's your list as far as that goes for the Rising Stars. Look forward to that. And that is it for your All-Star news, guys. Last item and then the top five, guys. Bam Adebayo for the Miami Heat. He was named Bob Lanier Community Assist Award winner for the month of December, guys. Now, remember, it was all over social media. The annual toy drive that he does every single year since he's established himself in Miami. This year, he did it along with an assist from his girlfriend, A'ja Wilson, of course, of the WNBA, for the Las Vegas Aces. And then, guys, not only that, he flew in 8 student athletes from his hometown in Greensburg, North Carolina, for a fun-filled weekend and filled with all sort of activities for these young athletes who are students as well, obviously. And then he flew in another 5 student athletes, those who are facing difficult hardships, whether it be financial or all those sort of different things. He brought them in for a meet and greet with Pat Riley. You know, Pat Riley, of course, a wealth of wisdom when it comes to, you know, motivation and all that sort of stuff. And they received recognition from Coach Eric Spoelstra as well. So Bam Adebayo doing the prudent and responsible thing as a player, doing these wonderful things for these folks who will remember this for their lifetime, guys. But Bam Adebayo Bob Lanier, Community Assist Award winner for the month of December. So there you go. All right, guys. And finally, GD's top 5, guys. Starting in 5th, a new team cracking the top 5. The Toronto Raptors, guys. I chronicled how they went 4-0 last week. Immanuel Quickley is heating up right now, guys. Scotty Barnes playing well also. You have Brandon Ingram there, who's having a renaissance season himself. You just got RJ Barrett back. But mind you, they're still doing this without their starting center, Jakob Poeltl. So, like I said, the coach over there, Coach Darko, is doing a fantastic job right now for that team. Their schedule this week, they get the Knicks at home, on the road in Orlando, and then they get the Utah Jazz at home as well. So they have a chance to have another fine week, the Toronto Raptors. Right now at 29-19, your 5th place team on my list. Number 4, in a bit of a flip-flop, the San Antonio Spurs. I got them 31-15, guys. Devin Vassal's back, guys. He's back for them playing. So they're probably the healthiest they've been in a while, guys, the San Antonio Spurs. So you got everybody in the fold there. Coach Mitch Johnson doing a fantastic job over there. Wemby, Castle, all the guys there playing well. This week, on the road at Houston, on the road at Charlotte, and then home with the Orlando Magic. So San Antonio has a chance to have a fine week. 3, your 3rd team, the Denver Nuggets, guys. I got to say I'm quite impressed with them, guys. With the same record as the San Antonio Spurs, 31-15. The deciding factor for me is what they've done in the last 10 games, where they played much better than the San Antonio Spurs. But again, I'm quite impressed with them, guys, how well they're playing without the Joker, guys. And they're getting healthy players back as well. Jonas Valanciunas, he's on the way back, guys. So once you get the Joker back, things will really roll for this team. Right now, for the week, all home games, they get the Detroit Pistons, the Brooklyn Nets, the LA Clippers, and OKC. So tough week with the top teams in each conference, but you got a cupcake or two in there with Brooklyn, and it depends on what the Clippers are doing. Although Clippers are one of the hotter teams in the league right now, so be careful of that. Number 2, Detroit Pistons at 33-11, one of the hottest teams in the league. In their last 10 games, 8-2. They have a road game at the Denver Nuggets, on the road facing the Phoenix Suns, and still out west playing the Golden State Warriors, and then they come back for a home game against the Brooklyn Nets. So big test week for the Detroit Pistons, so we'll see how they fare. And then your number 1 team, of course, they've been the number 1 thus far all season, OKC, the Oklahoma City Thunder, at 37-10. They finished last week, though, with a sour taste in their mouth, guys. 2 bad losses against Toronto and against a surging Toronto against Indiana, and a surging Toronto Raptors. This week, they get the Pelicans at home, on the road facing the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. So a bit of a soft start, although they got to be careful because they let teams like Indiana and Toronto come to their house and beat them. So got to be mindful of that. And then they go on the road, like I said, and get Minnesota and Denver. 2 teams very much amongst the top 6, if you will, and playing good thus far. So there you go. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. All Things Basketball with GD.com is the website. There you find all my clips, my full episodes. Also, guys, to donate to the show, guys, get to the show. See your boy in the lap of luxury over here. So help me to do other kind of location shows, if you will. Donate, guys. My Cash App is always in the scroll. Also, guys, on my website, 3 buttons to donate: PayPal, buy me a coffee, Spotify donate. Those are the ways you can give to the show. Also, guys, my YouTube channel up and running as always, guys, so you can catch me there. Podcast platforms, I'm on them all, including Apple. Also, guys, as far as social media, Instagram, TikTok, some Facebook, some Blue Sky, and that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening, guys. Guys, I'm about to get off of here and go enjoy this Miami. I keep saying this Miami. It feels like Miami. This Hawaii weather. About to go and hit the streets. You know how I do. So I thank you for listening. As always, next time you hear from me will be the Week 15 recap, where we'll finally find out the reserves for the All-Star game and how things shake out as far as that goes, and then a whole lot more. So thank you for listening. As always, your listenership is what keeps this show running. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Take care.